So thank you everyone for joining us for our Webin'R2i. So it's a series of webinar that we are hosting over the years. So today we'll talk about, oh, sorry, I'm starting right now. Webinar. So today, sorry for the start. So today we'll talk about the RPG developers, which is a concerns and a challenge actually in the market for years. So the title of the webinar today is Ensure the Succession of Your RPG Developers. So for IBMI environment. And today, for this Webin'R2i, we will have Luc Du Moulin, who will host you for the next 45 minutes. So a huge experience in the IBMR market around development. Is our director of IBMI and development and support application at R2i. And like I said, he will talk a bit more about himself, but extensive knowledge in that area. And about myself, Benoit Martin, president and founders of R2i. An IBMI lover since I'm in the business since 27 years now, and I start on the AS100 platform at that time. Then that moved to the Power name or IBMI. So I truly believe in that platform. I love that platform, and that this is why R2i is a very good partner for you around anything around Power offerings. So we will discuss that today. So first, let me introduce, so we will talk a bit about R2i. So I'll take a few minutes of your time to talk about R2i so you know better who we are and what we do day to day and what is our experience. I will take a few minutes to talk about Edwins. Edwins is the R2i's cloud offering. Wonderful tool for you to help you navigate through the Power environment, and also to leverage for development environment and anything around Power. And then Luc will continue with the main portion of the webinar today with Ensure the Succession of your RPG developers. You can ask questions through the chat. If you have question, we'll be able to answer at the appropriate time. So we'll try to answer as quick as possible. And at the end, also we'll have a question session if you have question that you want to wait to the end. So our vision is to simplify information technology at R2i. We want to make your life easier. So what R2i's names or stands for? So R is the resources. It's our people. It's our most important assets. It's really what makes you live a great experience with R2i. When we deal with us, it's because we have quality people. So it's really based on the people, the resources. And then 2 times I. So the first I is for infrastructure. It's everything around data center, including mainly power system. And integration, it's to integrate customer into our managed services and cloud portion of the business. So in French, it was impartition, which means outsourcing, but as we want to keep the high, we call it integration. Next slide, it's a bit more about R2i, who we are. So founded in 2014, we just celebrate our 10th anniversary, in fact, 2 weeks ago. So I'm very proud of that achievement. We've been recognized for one of the, oops, sorry, it's going by itself, sorry. So we've been recognized one of the fastest growing company from 2018 to 2023. Offices in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. We have customer around North America, Canada, and the United States. Highly experienced technical team and development team, 60 plus and growing. Many ISO certification. We will talk more deeply later, but 5 ISO certification on the technical side. So 27,001, 17, 18, 26,000 more on the environmental impact and social impact of the company. And the latest one, 9001, which is more on the process. We are also certified EcoVadis Silver, which is more responsible and sustainable achievement of R2i. Remarkable Employer Certified, very proud to have been one of the to get the highest score over 40 companies certified into that program, which is a kind of ISO certification process. It's really regulated. And also we have a 24/7 network monitoring center. So we have people in front of their screen monitoring your environment when needed. It could be end-to-end with or on-prem. Next one. Oh, sorry, is it going? Okay, so our 5 pillars. So infrastructure, which is part of the name of R2I, cloud computing, IT managed services, digital transformation, and what we are talking today during the webinar is the IBM development and application services, which Luc is responsible for. I talked earlier about our 360-degree offering. So whatever you think you need around power system, we can offer you. So application management and development in a cloud option with Edwin's R2I's cloud, managed services, professional services, resale of equipment, power system and storage around it. And very importantly, also IBMI security. We do have some offering, software offering and services offering around IBMI security. We work with the leaders in technology. For sure, our main partner is IBM. Very, very close to IBM because of the IBMI and power and everything around it. But we work very closely with many others vendors in the market. If you are in the IBMR world, there's probably a few ones that you know more precisely: Arcade Software and Fortra, which focus on IBMI software package. Now let's talk about Edwin's R2I Cloud. The R2I Clouds is available since the early beginning of R2I 10 years ago, but a year and a half ago we decided to brand it and to give, how can I say, a life to our cloud, and we name it Edwin's. So I talk a bit about our certification. So 2701 is mainly the information security in IT in general. 2717 is more about the cloud security. 27018 is more 18 is more about personal information. So P2I, what we call personal identification information. ISO 9001 is more on the process. It could be on the financial side and also on the technical side. So everything that is documented and processed. Also, all the data center that hosts Headwind's offering are SOC 2 Type 2 certified, and there's a lot of security also compliance that we adhere to. We have 5 data centers available in Canada, 2 in the Toronto area and 3 in Montreal area. It's mainly a public cloud offering, x86, so Windows and Linux, and one of the largest power cloud offering in North America. There's a private and dedicated also cloud possibility. We do offer backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, and plenty of services around that, performance, archiving, object storage. There's also lots of possibility in terms of telco. We are neutral into that, and we match with your needs in terms of telco. So we work with any telco provider, and for sure IT consulting and professional services around that. Sorry. Now let's move on to Luc Du Moulin, that will be your host for the next part of the presentation. Luc, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Benoit. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar. Just a bit about me. I'm the IBMI Development Director at R2I. I joined the company back in January of 2023 after spending a few years in the corporate world. I actually have a dual hat managing the dev team as well as being a solutions architect for the IBMI platform on the application side. Well, you can see by my gray hair that I've got a few years behind the belt. I've been around for 40 years doing development anywhere from System 34 RPG2 all the way up to COBOL and RPG ILE on the IBMI. The last 12 years, I've devoted my time managing and coaching development teams. And ever since I joined R2I, I've been doing that and more exciting things like meeting with customers. And what I'm going to show you today is all the thoughts I went through going from customer to customer and sharing their experiences to me. And this brought this presentation. So we're going to be able to cover opportunities and outlook with developer retirement. Then we'll be able to look at the benefits of proactive resource management, encourage and integrate the new developers, or the new generation of developers, I should say, because that will be the key, and the strategies to modernize, optimize existing applications. It's not necessarily going to happen in this order, but we're going to cover all of those aspects. Strategies. In the absence of new talents, what I've seen in the market is that companies have come up with ideas like delaying retirement. So in order to delay retirement, they're offering extra vacation weeks, they reduce the work schedules, some even offer retention bonuses. And others, which I found that was nice, would take their more senior people and allow them to spend time with the ones that have less experience in the company and to mentor them and coach them. So that's giving a sense of community to the employee, investing his or her time with colleagues. Others are going to go hire freelancers. They're very often not much younger than the ones that are about to retire, but they're very income driven. So you know what that means. They earn a lot, so they stick around, but when they leave with all the knowledge that they've gathered during the time they were in contract with your company. And then there's the managed services. It's probably the one that is the less known about, but managed services are day-to-day integrations of external services. And this is one of the things into which R2i specializes. I'll explain a bit later what it brings forward to you as being a partner in your IT shop. So to ensure your own succession, you will probably have to go and do some recruitment. It's a long and laborious process, as you well know. The first thing that you have to do is define your needs. We all know what we need. We need developers, but what do we really need? And then what can you offer to these candidates and for how long? There comes the time where you publish and make a public announcement about the fact that you're looking for developers. And if you're lucky, you're going to have candidates. Now, when comes the time to select those candidates, what are you going to say to them to attract them and to get their long-term commitment? So that's a good question you have to ask yourself. And if all goes well, you're going to hire that person. So let's look at define the needs. The observation in general is that developers are heading towards retirement. So, and there's a shortage of younger development or developers in the market, especially in the RPG and COBOL markets. Just a note, there is a shortage of younger developer in the market, period, regardless if you're COBOL, RPG, Python, Java, or whatever. There is really in North America a shortage of younger developers. Now, the resolution for some companies will be finding a new ERP instead of going through all the motions of hiring people and trying to find out who's going to do what, who's good, who's not. They just go and say, we're going to be changing our ERP, even though the current application fulfills all of the requirements of the business and the application has been tailored to the business processes. It's so closely knit that it does everything it has to. Now, I don't know of any off-the-shelf ERP that will fit the needs and without investing money into customizing it, if ever possible. Now, the question I've got asked, and I've got to ask to some of the people that make the decisions around the table is it reasonable to replace the main application simply because there's no longer a workforce available? And they all look at me with that puzzled face, which is, why you ask that question? This is not something we want you to even consider. But the fact of the matter is, most of the time, the decision to go to a brand new ERP is because you just can't find any resources. But there could be answers to that. Let's look, just for the fun of it, at what the market says. This is an excerpt of the Fortra report, which is publicly available. And it's a survey that's been taken last year at the end of 2023, and it positions the questions are positioning all the different categories of applications and needs of the business for the ones which are running their main applications on the IBMI. So would you be surprised to hear that 70% of the survey respondents said that the applications that they mainly run on the IBMI are an in-house written application. And out of all the respondents, 25% of them bought a software, off-the-shelf software, and then they customized it. They customized it to the extent where it's no longer resembling to what they purchased at the very beginning. So that means that if you're asking yourself if you're the only one that is stuck in the place where everything you've done is fully customized, whether it's from the ground up or something that you've purchased and then you modified extensively, well, you fit in the model that this survey is bringing forward. Now, have you ever wondered if your application still meets your growth needs? Some companies have attained a level where they're satisfied where they're at, and they're in a niche, and whatever they've got as a system is enough to bring them what they need. Have you ever wondered if a recent application would integrate with your specific needs or your business processes? Some of your business processes are very unique, and I don't think that an off-the-shelf commercial ERP is going to be able to make that happen. If there were no resource shortages, would you make the same decision? Would you replace your system? And have you ever wondered if the other option you're contemplating is also facing a resource shortage? What that means to you is that whatever you're going to ask for changes, it might take even longer to get to them than if you had your own resources doing it. Again, back to the Fortra report, the top 5 concerns for your IT environment from those respondents. Besides cybersecurity, which is number one, which should be number one in any survey anyways, besides cybersecurity, you've got modernizing application, IBMI skills, and high availability and disaster recovery, which are the top 5 concerns, or part of the top 5 concerns in the IT environment where there's an IBMI involved. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if you're wondering how you will be able to answer those questions highlighted in that survey, you need to recruit one way or another candidates that are going to be able to help you sustain the growth or sustain the needs of your business for your main application. So have you considered when you're going to interview those new candidates, have you considered that you have to have something to offer, and that what you have to offer might not be, well, we have maintenance to do on this application, and well, it's always the same problems are coming around and you have to fix those bugs. This is not something that's appealing. So how will you make it appealing? Have you considered remodeling your user interface? If you're still green screen, it might do the job. But if you remodel your user interface, maybe you're going to attract people, even people in your business, the younger guys, which prefer to work off of a brand new UI than a green screen. Modernizing the source code to modern RPG is always something interesting. You can tap into the power of ILE. You can refactor the existing code to implement web services. Yes, this can all be done on the IBMI, and this can be done with modern RPG. The good news is there are solutions to rejuvenate your IBMI applications and attract the next generation of RPG developers. So how do we do that? It's one thing to have an application that is going to be renewed. It's something else to have an environment which is renewed. What do I mean? What do I mean by an environment? I mean the developer's environment itself. 80%, according to the Fortra report survey, 80% of the businesses that are running an IBM i shop are still using PDM and SEU, tools that haven't been upgraded and updated for years and if maybe decades, if I should say. We've seen RDI being a tool which is getting in there, 56% of the respondents said. And in the past year and a half, we've seen VS Code, which is free. You don't need any license to run this. At the time it was the survey was run, 37% of the businesses were using VS Code, and I suspect that when the 2025 report comes out next year, it's gonna probably surpass RDI. There's a big push from IBM and from the businesses to get this VS Code up and running and being used heavily across all the development teams. Don't forget, new people coming in will have come out from technical schools or university and would have used VS Code as their primary IDE. So why not offer them an environment where they can feel that it is modern? Modernizing can also involve using modern tools like VS Code, which I just mentioned. But what about Git, Jenkins, Merlin? All of these tools are available to connect and help you with your IBMI development, whether it's RPG or COBOL. Oh, use open source. Yeah, that's something great. The problem with open source most of the time is you keep to watch for bugs and viruses and things like that so that you put the patches in. Fortunately for us, whatever open source runs on the IBMI, IBM is watching on those open source languages and issuing patches on a regular basis. So they do the work for us. All we have to do is put the patches on and we're safe. So on security side, open source is kind of secure on the IBMI. Implementing the DevOps philosophy. Yeah, DevOps is two sets or twofold. You have the philosophy and then you have the tools to implement the philosophy. But first you have to understand the philosophy and see how you can implement it. And don't try to just make a great leap forward. Do it step by step. DevOps can be implemented on a step-by-step basis. If you have the proper tools, it's going to be a lot easier. And there's a lot of companies around which are specialized in implementing DevOps with their tool sets. Okay, back to our hiring process, because this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to hire new guys that are going to be able to help us sustain our business with RPG and COBOL and the ERP that we currently have in place. So we had question about defining the needs. So what do you really need? I think that what we need is the skills from the next generation. And what can we offer? Well, if we decide to keep the current system we've got and modernize it, then we can offer long-term application feature development to any new candidate. So what are we going to say to attract them? We're going to say, well, we will have a modern environment, which I've described, fairly easy to do. We can be using open source if this is something we want to do. We can do integrations with almost everything and anything because we do support web services, and we can implement a DevOps philosophy. What about long-term commitment? Well, if you decide to invest into continuing with your system, you can offer to those new candidates learning business processes, which is not something they actually do in technical schools. You can offer mentorship and coaching to them, and you also, by doing so, renew your development team. So again, it's all about having a team of people which are sharing their knowledge of the IBMI, of the RPG, and becoming lovers of the platform, like people at my age are still in love after 40 years. Now comes the R2i solution. through my dealings with the different companies we visited, most of them don't want to go through the process of hiring a brand new person, having to train them and mentor them and do all of this once again, because what they're thinking is that I might hire someone that's going to last 2 years and then I'll have to redo it all again. Second thing, where do I find RPG training? There's merely no one in Quebec. There's not that many in Canada that offer training. There are some schools in the States that do so. And IBM has launched a program last year to help colleges and universities to set a program about teaching the IBMI platform and all the necessary curriculum to be either a programmer or a sysadmin. But this is going to take time to get in place, to be working properly and spitting lots of resources out. So by the time this all happens, what do we do with our people which are getting older by the day? So our solution is first of all to offer managed services for maintenance and application support for your IBMI environments. We handle the recruitment, the training, and the mentoring. Our own resources become your daily partners. We provide application support and maintenance, and we also handle refactoring, modernization, and development. We also, and that's key here, we also train the next gen through the R2i Academy training program. This is a continuous internal training and mentoring program in partnership with an IBM world-renowned expert. Just a word here, the Academy is solely for the purpose of R2i, and it's not a training school where you can send new developers for training, and after 12, 13, 15 weeks, they get out and they know how to program. But this is a start. This is new in the industry where a company invests into an academy, a training program to get newcomers, the next generation, being trained on RPG and mentored by senior developers in an environment rich of all the knowledge that these senior people have gone throughout the years. We already have one which is completely trained and has been nominated as on the IBM's Rising Star for 2024. Keep abreast of the news. By the end of this year, you should see her face showing up on the official page of Rising Star 2024, sponsored by Tech Channel. So we're pretty proud of this success, and we're working on training newcomers. We have to go through the same process that you would do with any new people coming in. We're in the interview part of things and preparing for the next round of training. We offer managed services for your IBMI applications, as I mentioned. So what does that mean? Anomaly analysis and resolution, bug fixing, data integrity, continuous monitoring. We do maintenance, enhancements, and also large-scale development. We can do and will do modernization. That includes changing and transforming your green screen through modern UI. We do knowledge transfer and documentation. Lots of companies we interview end up having no documentation. The only documentation of their systems that exist are the people that are retiring. So what we do is that as the knowledge is being transferred from those knowledgeable people to our own employees, we do document all of that, because the fact of the matter is we also have aging developers that we will replace with the younger generation. But if we don't document the knowledge that is being transferred, it's going to be lost again. And this is not what the idea is. The idea is you transfer it once, we prepare documentation that we can pass along to other colleagues, and then the ball starts rolling with documentation and helping you guys continuing using your system. We also do follow-up meetings. We are part of your IT. We are not alone on our end and taking all the decisions or making all the changes by ourselves. We are part of your team, and we want to be a real partner in your success. We also offer operations continuity with a guaranteed number of resource and long-term involvement. We typically look at contract durations around 3 to 5 years so that we have enough time to understand your business, document the processes, train new people in so that not only one person knows everything, and then that's key to the success of understanding your business, helping you grow your business by having a system that follows your needs. And we also offer business process mappings, which is something that not a lot of companies do have. They know their business processes, but they're not being mapped, they're not being documented. So we offer that service. And we also offer health assessment services where we can do IBMI application environment health assessment, your whole infrastructure health assessment, and the IBMI security assessment as well. Those are different packages that are not sold all together. They can be taken separately, but there's a lot of information that can be found in those health assessments that can help you take decisions for the future of your applications. Well, this concludes my part of the presentation. I'm pretty sure you're going to have questions. Feel free to ask them while Benoit is going to complete the rest of the presentation for the few slides that are to come. I'll read some of your questions and see if I can answer them. Thank you,
Yes.
everyone.
Thank you very much, Luc. A very interesting presentation. Yes, so upcoming event and webinars. So as you may know, Common Navigate will come to Canada in Toronto, November 4 to 6 for the first time, I think over 20 years or so. So a great event to attend if you are an IBMI customer, IBMI lover, everything around power. I think it's a good opportunity to meet your peers across Canada and probably even the northern US. R2i will be there. We will do some presentation. We'll have a booth. We'll be able to answer your question, anything around the R2i offering. So we welcome you, or we encourage you to attend this conference. I think it's very valuable in your journey. Then we'll have also a webinar so around Bill 25 in Quebec, which is information security and personal information, how we handle that. There's solution on the market with that. So it's depending on the bill C27. The date is not firm yet, but it will be by the end of the year. So stay tuned from our newsletter and probably subscribe to our newsletter if you are not subscribed, if you did not subscribe yet, so you will be informed of the next webinars that we have or any activities that we have around power and everything else.